Welcome back, NGDL fans, to Week 11 of the NGDL, at least the Miami Dolphiones NGDL schedule. And we are matched up to this week against the DC Sceptiles, a divisional opponent that we're battling for the first time, despite it being Week 11. We battled them again in the final week, but this is actually a pretty critical match because I'm trying to stay afloat in my division here. Now, he is one of the two owners that actually drafted a Uber drafting the incredibly powerful Kyogre. Now, by rule, he's not able to evolve it into, Mega Evolve it into, or I guess Origin Evolve it or whatever, into Origin Kyogre, because the item required for that is banned. However, it is a rain setter, and as you can see by his team, that is a rain team, and including Tapu Koko, which can now probably spam Thunders at me. I am pretty scared. In fact, when he drafted Kyogre, I knew that we might be in trouble. Now, the season didn't go his way the first few weeks. He's 2-8, so he's just fighting for respect at this point. But that's always the dangerous guys, you know. He's fighting for respect. You know, it's a YouTube match against TheKillerNacho, the league's creator. I have to make sure that I don't drop one here, and Kyogre is always going to make things hard. So there you can see our teams, and I decided to lead with my Jolteon, and I'm actually bringing a thing I bring for the very first time in this tournament, and that would be Quick Feet Jolteon. Which I know what you're thinking. How fast do you really need to be? Jolteon's already ridiculously fast. Why, take the residual damage? Because obviously I'm using the Flame Orb to do that. And the answer is because it guarantees me to outspeed pretty much everything on his team, including a Swift Swim Kingdra. So that's my thought process. Now, I'm just going to go for the Volt Switch because I don't know what this Haunter is going to do, so I don't get the Flame Orb quite yet. Instead, I go into my Greninja, and I don't even know what I was thinking. I guess I was thinking a Stab Shadow Ball or something, but he's going to be able to do a lot of damage to me with that. So, that's not really good. Greninja is obviously one of my, probably the critical mon on my team. And this Greninja I'm bringing today is actually a Choice Scarf Greninja, Ash, which will also outspeed all of his team once he of course transforms into transforms using Battle Bond. He can still outspeed I think everything but a Kingdra, a max speed Kingdra in the rain. So yeah, it's still pretty fast, and I wanted to make sure I'd have an out to basically outspeed anything I wanted. So yeah, he's gonna go out into his Tapu Koko as I go into my Jolteon. He ends up missing his Nature's Madness, which is good for me, but I'm starting to think that it might be Tapium Z in order to break some of my tankier bonds, so I have to keep that in mind. Anyway, the Electric Terrain is off, so I decided to just go for the Volt Switch on this Sawk. I really probably could have killed it with Thunder, but I didn't want to risk missing. So I'm going to go into my Claydol, and that does a ton of damage, despite the resistance. I was absolutely shocked. This has to be a Choice Band Sawk, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot I can do. I decided to actually just go for the Stealth Rocks. I didn't even think I'd outspeed. I could have went for a Psychic to kill him. But instead, I just go for the Stealth Rocks. I thought that he would outspeed. That also reveals that he's a max HP Sawk with no speed investment, so that's pretty interesting. But as you can see, it hits like an absolute truck with the Choice Band, and I am pretty worried. So I decided to go into my Greninja, and this time I decided to go for the Hydro Pump, predicting a switch, and I miss. I miss that Hydro Pump, and I lose Greninja. That would have been an easy, transformation there. But I was super mad. I was so pissed at this point. You guys have no idea. I was just so pissed. I go into Jolteon and I just hit Thunder. I didn't even need to. I could have just went for a Volt Switch or something, which would have been safer. So I'm like, screw you. I'm just gonna go for a Thunder, which of course I'm bringing, expecting the rain and to hit really hard against Kyogre and stuff. But it ends up hitting. So there you go. My anger paid off. I get to kill it. But wow, that Sawk did a ton of damage to my team. I'm not comfortable with that at all. And in comes his Uber, the Kyogre, and the good news is, with Quick Feet, I can definitely outspeed, even if it is a Scarf Kyogre, and I'm just going to go for a Thunder. He has no Pokemon to really come in on a Thunder. He pretty much has to sack something, because I outspeed and 2-hit KO pretty much anything, and he decides to just sack his Haunter, which is a good move, because the Haunter really wasn't so useful anymore, and now he's going to go into his Kingdra, which, It's kind of a roll, depending on his set, of course. It depends on a roll whether I can KO here with Thunder. Now, I am, obviously, this is, really powerful coming from a Jolteon. He ends up living with, like, 5-10% of his HP, so he might be slightly HP invested, I'm not sure. But he just goes for an Outrage to get rid of me, which is a good play. And now I'm just going to go into Scizor, and I am a Choice Banded one. And I'm hoping that I can... Actually, no, I probably could have killed with a Bullet Punch. I decide actually to U-turn as he just goes for another Outrage, and does a ton, actually, despite being resistant to my Scissor. I'm wondering if that's maybe a Choice Band Kingdra. I'm not really sure, but it did a lot of damage. Anyway, gonna go into my Goodra, and yeah, that pretty much lets me see what he's going to do. Now, he goes into his Tapu Koko, and I'm like, well, the worst thing he could have is, I believe, Dazzling Gleam, or can this thing get Moonblast? I'm not sure. But either way, I have the Assault Vest, but I'm actually expecting him to use his Tapium Z, because that's the only time you really see Tapu Kokos with Nature's Madness, and I called that spot on. I decided to hard switch into Scizor, which was a risky move. But I figured, you know what, he's either going to go for that Fairy move, or he's going to go for this Guardian of Alola, try to weaken my tanky Goodra by 75%, and that was excellent for me because my Scizor comes in with under half HP, so it ends up only losing about, 40%. Now, I am weakened, obviously. I'm down to 15%, but able to take this thing out with the Choice Banded Bullet Punch, which is super good. Glad to get rid of that thing, and he's just going to go back into Kyogre. Now, I have 2 Pokemon remaining, and I don't know this Kyogre set at all. I decide to stay in and see what he does. I need to basically sack something. He can basically 2-hit KO anything with any move with this Kyogre, and my Scizor at 15 HP is not worth it. And he does go for the Ice Beam. He's expecting my Goodra to come in, and I decide, I don't see the Life Orb, I don't see the leftovers, so I'm like, okay, I think this thing is choice in some way. It's either choice Scarf or choice Specs. This might be my opportunity to set off my Z conversion. Now, as you can see, he doesn't outspeed me here, so I know it's a Spec set. However, after, Z conversioning, I have +1 to all my stats, including special defense. I'm pretty sure I can take an unstabbed Ice Beam from this thing, as long as it doesn't freeze. God forbid, no Freezerino, thank God. Alright, so I take that about half, and now I am going to outspeed. This would have actually been dangerous, because if this was a Scarf Kyogre, this would have been actually a speed tie, because they have the same base speed. So I'm really glad that was a Specs one, and I'm able to take it out with Thunderbolt. And in comes Kabutops, his other Swift Swimmer. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to outspeed this due to Swift Swim. And he's hoping to KO here with Waterfall, and indeed he does. My +1 defense is not enough because Porygon-Z has paper defenses. But I have a full health Goodra here, and I have Power Whip. I have to hope that I hit, and that he doesn't kill with whatever he has. And indeed, he does go for a Stone Edge, and that gave me a heart attack, my friends. I was about to be super pissed, because I'm like, holy shit, that shouldn't be doing that much damage. Critical hit. I survived, though, with 20 HP, and thankfully hit that Power Whip to beat Skep here in his DC Sceptiles. That was way close. I was getting really mad. First with that Hydro Pump miss, and then I feel like this battle was so intense, when we did it. It was crazy. I think I had a heart attack like 3 times, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. But we have improved to 6-5, and our next match is against the San Diego Chargabugs, who did lose this week, which gives me a little breathing room in the division. He is down to 4-8. I am up to 6-5 with 3 weeks left to play. So unless I lose out, I don't think he can snipe a spot from me, but I need to lose out, and he needs to win out, which also means that this next matchup is still pretty critical because I can clinch a wild card berth right here, right now, okay, maybe technically next week, with a win. So really happy about this win, but the big one's coming up, and if I can win that, I am in. So I need to bring my A game against Zack Attack and his San Diego Chargabugs, which I feel I match up with pretty well, but you never know. He's been getting a lot better recently. When we first battled, he was kind of doing poorly. He hadn't really gotten used to this draft format, but he's actually put in together some impressive wins as of late, and he might be looking at a late season comeback. Anyway, so today's question of the day has to do with the new Ultra Sun and Moon trailer. Revealed quite a few things, and I want to talk about the new Ultra Beasts with this question of the day. Now, a new one, a completely new one, aside from the 2 that were revealed earlier, was revealed, and that is Ultra Beast Adhesive, which is going to be a pure poison type. Pretty interesting. And by the looks of it, it really could go any wet direction with its base stats. And yeah, that's much not much else to say about that. We also have confirmed which types these two Ultra Beasts are. Assembly, the one to the right, is going to be Rock Steel, and the Burst Ultra Beast, which everyone and their mother thought was going to be at least part Fairy, is actually a Ghost Fire. I don't know how that works. So leave a comment about what you think about these new Ultra Beasts and their typings. As for me, I'm kind of disappointed. I was kind of hoping for at least a few interesting type combinations, but instead we got a pure poison type, which it definitely could be a cool and interesting mon. I really hate the fact that Assembly is a Rock Steel. I thought that Game Freak got over that boner a long time ago, because now, no matter what its base stats are, it's going to suck, because it's going to be tanky, and it doesn't even matter how tanky it is. It doesn't matter what its base stats are. As long as it has an X4 weakness to fighting in the earth, ground, it's going to be done. It's bad. And that's unfortunate, because I really do like the design, and I feel bad about that, but Game Freak, Rock Steel isn't good. Anyway, Burst definitely has the potential to be a good Pokemon. I can see it being an Uber, I can see it being as low as RU, but Fire Ghost is a pretty good typing, as we've seen from Chandelure and, Alolan Marowak, so definitely has a lot of potential there. So leave a comment about that. I still don't like its design. I do like the design of Adhesive, though, the new one, but leave a comment about that, and see you guys again next time. Later.